Hi folks, it's Gary here, and it's a very warm welcome back to the fourth official here on YouTube for our latest video, looking back on Rangers' 4-3 victory at Dens Park in the Scottish Premiership on what was Cyriel Dessers' 100th Rangers appearance. And the Nigerian striker popped up in the 92nd minute with the winner, his 12th shot of the match, finally in the back of the Dundee net and sealing what was a hard-fought 3 points for Barry Ferguson's men. That only tells a very small part of the story of today's game, and once again it was a type of Rangers performance that has summed up the vast majority of what has been an incredibly disappointing and frustrating season. A performance littered with individual mistakes and errors and positional play, a team without a great deal of structure or composure or any real control of the fixture. A Dundee side in second bottom place in the Scottish Premiership, causing Rangers all sorts of problems across the defensive structure of the team, like Sir Simon Murray not giving Rangers any time to really settle on the ball, taking advantage over individual mistakes. Once again, Jack Butland with an error that cost the second goal for Dundee's Joe Shaughnessy this evening. And it was that type of night, just a game littered with poor decision making, not a great deal of quality, but in the end, Rangers were able to dig out a 3 points, and it was something that the manager Barry Ferguson stated in his post-match comments to Sky that 5 weeks ago it's the type of game that Rangers wouldn't have gone on and won, and it's kind of hard to disagree with them, but in that respect, because when Barry Ferguson came in, he took over a Rangers side that felt sorry for themselves, that were unable to go on the road in Scotland and win on a regular basis. That's now 5 games on the bounce that Rangers have won away from home since Barry Ferguson's came in, and that includes obviously victories in Turkey and also Parkhead. So it's signs that the manager has been able to get some sort of a tune out of the side, but by God, do they not make it hard for themselves to watch. It was a performance littered with mistakes, and I put in our group chat with the rest of the fourth official guys earlier on this evening that this is a Rangers side that doesn't control games well enough, that they don't have enough people that can just get on the ball and take the sting out of the game. And when you've got people that can't do that, what it leads to is a very erratic, topsy-turvy type performance where you've got a team like Dundee that looked as if they could score at will. They scored 3 tonight. They also hit the post. They had another gilt-edged opportunity from Scott Tiffany just before they got the third goal this evening, that had they shown a little bit more quality, they could have scored 4 or 5 this evening as well. And when you're giving up that many opportunities to the opposing side, and let's not forget this is a side that are 11th in the Scottish Premiership, so they're not a side that are flooded with attacking quality, but they're hardworking. They get in and around the game. That they felt that this was a Rangers side that could get got at tonight, and off the back of an international break, it's always difficult to show that energy, and sometimes it's just about doing enough to get the 3 points and head back home. And in the end, that's what Rangers were able to do. Much improved in the second half. A couple of changes made by Barry Ferguson at half time, bringing on Bailey Rice and going back to a back four. The back five, I think, didn't work this evening. Rangers all too often giving up space and behind Ridvan Yilmaz, who had a really tough evening, and then behind James Tavernier at times as well. One thing Dundee do give you is pace and energy and work rate, and I think Rangers struggled to have a shape that were able to combat that this evening until they made that change in the second half. And there's more changes that Barry Ferguson was able to make in bringing on Danilo and particularly Tom Lawrence, who got the equaliser tonight, gave Rangers just that bit more quality, a bit more energy, a bit more purpose on the park, and that in the end was enough with that added quality. And Cyriel Dessers on his 100th Rangers appearance gave you the full Cyriel Dessers experience tonight. He had a goal ruled out for offside. He had shot after shot after shot saved by Dundee keeper Trevor Carson, and then finally a real piece of quality, taking advantage over a slip by the Dundee defender Donnelly, who his header found its way to Dessers. He brings it down on his chest and then shows a great deal of composure to flick it over Trevor Carson into the back of the net for the injury time winner. And that just came 60 seconds after Simon Murray hits the post for Dundee, and they could have won the game 4-3. So it was that type of game tonight, one that neutrals would have absolutely loved to watch because there was plenty happening in the game. Anyone that had a skin in the game, whether you were a Rangers or a Dundee fan, maybe wouldn't quite have enjoyed it quite so much. It was a game that always had something happening at it. There was always action, and as I say, not always at the greatest level of quality, but it was a type of game that you're just pleased to go down the road with 3 points. And the manager's now stated that with a full week of training ahead of themselves, and him and his coaching staff have now got time to work with the players ahead of Hibs coming to Ibrox next Saturday. And this is a Hibs side who are flying in great form domestically at the moment, and they'll certainly fancy their chances of getting at this Rangers defence. Jack Butland again with an error this evening, and we saw just a few weeks ago mistakes against Motherwell and mistakes against St Mirren. So Rangers will have to get their house in order, be a lot more difficult to break down, be a lot harder to score against, because that then gives you a platform to go and get your attacking players into the game and get you winning football matches. Because Hibs and then a double header against Bilbao are not going to be easy games. And if you give up the level of chances that Rangers gave up tonight against Dundee, against the likes of Hibs and particularly Bilbao, then you're not going to get the opportunity to score 4 goals and come back and win the match. So Rangers are going to have to find a structure which allows them to be a lot more defensively sound, be a lot more compact, be a lot more stable, because that certainly wasn't something that was evident tonight up at Dundee. By the end, 4-3, and it was a big win and something that certainly the Rangers fans can enjoy. Full match coverage is available over on our Patreon channel. It's www.patreon.com/thefourthofficial. You can join myself and Cammy for a full 30-minute breakdown of tonight's 4-3 victory. And you can also find on there all of our opinion columns, all of our exclusive interviews, and you can get that for less than £3 per month. Loads coming up on the channel over the course of the next few days. Stay tuned to us here on YouTube. But for the time being, a big thank you for watching. I'll speak to you next time. Goodbye.